You know, in today's world, mothers and fathers raise children, the best of their ability. You have some single mothers, single fathers, whatever you may have. But they take care of you when you're young. They make sure that your pampers change, they put food in your mouth, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and they do the best they can to raise you until you're grown. And no parent out here has a manual to know how to raise a child. We do the best that we can and try to do the right things. But as the years go down the line, okay, the kids are grown. Okay, they went through their infanthood, their toddlerhood, their young adulthood, and on and on and on. You know, and after a while, the parents get up in age. They might turn 80 and 90 years old and get Alzheimer's and have to go into the rest home and whatever. And the thing is, when that time comes, don't just put them in a rest home and leave them. Go and check up on them. You have some kids, they just just throw their parents in a rest home and just say, okay, they're going to take care of them. You know, Not necessarily, not all the time. You know, if they don't see nobody coming to visit them, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to care neither. It all depends on who's on the schedule of that day. You have some that cares and you have some that don't care. You know, but show some considerations when you have your mom or your dad in the rest home. Go see about them on the daily. Make sure they're getting taken care of, being fed, and make sure they're doing right. You know, I have experienced a whole lot of things just walking into rest homes, and I see a lot of stuff, and I'm like, where's the children? Where's their family? You have some families that just give up on them, and that's not a good thing because guess what? Children, your children the children that do that to their parents gotta realize one day they're gonna get old. One day they're gonna need help. Everybody needs help. And you don't really have to be old to go in a rest home. I've seen some in their 40s and 50s, and can't do for themselves. But all said and done, look out for your loved ones the best way you can. Show your face. Peep in. You know, and if you don't have anybody in the rest home, just walk into a rest home one day, like on Valentine's Day, Christmas, New Year's, or whatever. Just walk down the aisle, just peep in the room. Hey, how you doing? You need any help? You'd be surprised how happy they will be just to see somebody's face. Somebody's face. You know, I was in West what's the name of that? Oh Lord. Wilson Pine. Wilson Pine Rest Home where I stay at. That's in the state that I live in. It's a rest home called Wilson Pine. And it was a hard time for me to walk into that building because I have lost so many friends inside of that rest home. But I go every day. I have a friend across the street from me, and I try to help her out the best way I can. But thank God she's getting better. And they sending her home. And I thank God for that. But all said and done, please look out for your family, your people. Don't think you're so much better than the next person or anything, because anything can happen to you. Anything can happen to you. You know, freak accidents happen. We don't know when they coming, but freak accidents happen. You know, also, you know, but that can put you in there also. But that's all I have to say. Peace and hair grease. Bye bye. Check up on your loved ones.